Today we're tackling SMART goals using, excerpts from this book, The 7-Step Blueprint to Mastering SMART Goals in Everyday Life.
Okay.
Um, I think a lot of people have heard of SMART goals,
Right.
but maybe they haven't really put them into practice or really thought about how to use them.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping to do a deep dive on that today.
I think that'd be great because, they're so helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually this source has a lot of really great content
Yeah.
on that. So
Yeah, it's not just about setting a goal. It's about understanding how to achieve it.
Yeah.
What's the psychology behind it?
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that I found really interesting that they talk about is this idea that by just adding a deadline to a goal,
Oh, yeah.
you can increase your chances of success.
Massively.
Yeah, significantly. It's a huge thing. I was really surprised by that.
It's like you flip a switch in your brain.
Yeah.
When there's a deadline, it's like, okay, I've got to do this.
Right. It's not just this vague, I want to do this someday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is happening on this date.
Okay, so let's start with the basics, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So SMART, everyone knows the acronym, stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah, that's it.
But how do we really,
Right.
move beyond just the words to actually using it?
Well, I think, you think about it like building blocks.
Okay.
Each element's a building block and they build on each other and they're all crucial.
Yeah.
Specific, right?
Okay.
It's not just about being clear for you. It's about giving your brain a concrete target.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just saying, I want to be healthier, which is vague.
Right.
You would say something like, I want to lose 5 pounds in the next 2 months by cutting out sugary drinks and walking for 30 minutes daily.
Okay, yeah.
So that's very specific.
That's very specific.
When your brain knows exactly what to lock onto.
It's like giving your GPS coordinates.
Yes.
Instead of saying take me somewhere nice.
Exactly. It's like, go to this address.
Right.
And that's kind of how our brains work too.
Yeah, it needs that
It needs that specificity.
Yeah, that roadmap.
Yeah.
And then you have measurable, right?
Yeah.
So how does measurable play into this?
Measurable is all about those progress checkpoints.
Okay.
So you can see how you're doing and you can course correct if you need to.
Yeah.
But it's also about motivating yourself.
Okay.
Have you ever tracked your steps or calories or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
And you hit your target?
Yeah.
You get that little
like that satisfaction, yeah.
That little dopamine hit.
Right.
It's like, yes, I did it.
Yeah.
That's measurable at work.
Oh, it's really powerful.
It is.
And it can really help to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, keeps you going.
Especially when you're working on big goals and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So achievable, right?
Yeah.
How do we make sure that a goal is achievable?
Yeah.
But we're not, limiting ourselves.
Right.
Because I feel like there's a fine line there.
Yeah. It's about being ambitious, but also realistic.
Right.
The 7-step blueprint actually talks about false hope syndrome.
Oh.
Where we set goals that are so big that we kind of set ourselves up for failure.
Right.
So it's better to break it down into smaller steps.
Okay.
So for example, if you want to write a book, don't just think about the whole book.
Right.
Think about writing a chapter a week.
Okay.
Or even a page a day.
Right.
And suddenly it feels more doable.
Yeah. Way more manageable.
Yeah.
And, it makes me think about the idea of progress isn't always linear.
That's true.
It's more
It's more like ups and downs.
Yeah, it's like those small wins that build up over time.
Yeah.
Okay, so relevant, right?
Yes.
We have achievable, now we have relevant.
Mm-hmm.
How does this particular goal fit into the big picture of our lives?
That's a good question.
Because I feel like we only have so much bandwidth,
Exactly.
So how do we...
But that's where your values come in.
Okay.
The 7-step blueprint talks about asking yourself, does this goal really resonate with me?
Okay.
Deep down, are you excited about this?
Right.
Or are you just doing it because you feel like you should?
Right.
If it doesn't align with your values and your long-term vision, it's going to be really hard to stick with it.
It's going to be hard to find the motivation.
Yeah. It's like trying to make yourself a type of music that you just don't like. Eventually you're going to be
I'm just going to turn it off.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. It's it's got to be something you're passionate about.
Yeah, it has to be something that fuels you and not drains you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have this awesome goal.
Right.
It's well-defined. It's relevant.
It's aligned with our values.
But how do we actually make it happen?
Oh, now we got to make it happen.
So that's where time-bound comes in, right?
Yes, time-bound is key.
Okay, so tell me about that.
It's about creating that urgency.
Okay.
You give yourself a deadline.
Yeah.
And it's like you light a fire under yourself.
Right.
They actually did a study in the 7-step blueprint,
Ah.
and they found that adding a deadline to a goal
Mm-hmm.
increased the success rate by over 70%.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's huge.
Just by adding a deadline.
Just by adding a deadline.
So it's like saying, I'm going to clean the house this weekend
Right.
versus like, I'm going to clean the house on Saturday morning for 2 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You put it in your calendar. It's real.
Right.
It's happening.
It's happening. Yeah. Okay, but even with a deadline,
Yeah.
I know that I'll get stuck in the planning phase.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'll have the goal,
Planning is good,
but then I'll just be like,
but you got to take action.
yeah, how do we bridge that gap between setting the SMART goal
Right.
and actually taking action?
That's where those micro commitments come in.
Okay.
The 7-step blueprint talks about this a lot.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking about the whole marathon,
Hmm.
just think about putting on your shoes for that first run.
Okay.
Break it down into the smallest step you can take.
Right.
That feels easy.
Yeah.
Do that first.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, make it so tiny that you can't say no.
That you almost can't not do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
completely
love
get
that. Yeah, and if you're looking for more strategies to kind of overcome those mental hurdles,
Yeah.
and really accelerate your personal growth,
Mm-hmm.
concentratedwisdom.com has a ton of resources.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
That can help.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of their site.
Yeah, they've got personalized guidance, actionable tips,
Mm-hmm.
a supportive community. It's great.
Yeah, it's a treasure trove of wisdom for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered the individual elements of SMART goals.
Yep.
But I'm curious to see how they work together in practice.
Yeah, me too.
Like, what does a fully formed SMART goal
A real life example.
actually look like in a real-world scenario?
Right. Let's get specific.
Yeah.
Let's take that be healthier goal.
Okay.
That's a classic one.
Yeah.
It's always so vague.
Yeah, it is. I struggle with that one personally.
Right. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So the 7-step blueprint, because it's a good example
Okay.
of how to make it smart.
Okay, I'm listening.
They say, reduce my body fat percentage by 3% in the next 12 weeks
Okay.
by working out with a trainer twice a week, meal prepping healthy lunches on Sundays, and tracking my progress in a fitness app.
Wow. Okay, that's very specific.
Right. So you see how all the smart elements are in there.
Okay, yeah, let's break it down.
Okay.
So we have the specific target.
Yes.
Reduce body fat percentage by 3%.
Not just lose weight.
Not just lose weight. Yeah.
It's specific.
It's measurable, right?
Yes. You can track your body fat percentage.
Yeah.
And you have the actions,
Okay.
the trainer, the meal prep, the app.
Right.
Those are all measurable too.
Yeah, it takes away the guesswork,
Exactly.
which I think is so important.
It is, because if you don't see progress,
Yeah, you get discouraged.
you get discouraged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it achievable?
Well,
3% in 12 weeks?
I mean, it sounds challenging, but I guess it's possible.
It is, with consistent effort.
Okay.
And the actions are all things you can control.
Right, you're not relying on, like, winning the lottery or something.
Exactly. No magic solutions.
Right.
It's all about what you do.
Yeah, and it's definitely relevant, right,
Oh, yeah.
to the bigger goal of being healthier.
Absolutely. It fits into that bigger picture.
Improving fitness, maybe even confidence.
It all ties in together.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
Like the time-bound aspect.
yes, 12 weeks, that's your deadline.
That creates the urgency.
Exactly. It makes it real.
I love that example. It's so clear.
It shows how it all comes together.
Yeah, but let's be honest.
Okay.
Even with the perfect SMART goal,
Right.
life happens.
Oh, it does.
We hit roadblocks.
Roadblocks are part of the process.
What are some of those common roadblocks that people face?
Okay. So the 7-step blueprint talks about this,
Okay.
and they connect the roadblocks back to the SMART elements.
Oh, interesting.
So, for example, let's say you're struggling with Achievable.
Okay.
Maybe your goal is too big.
Like that 3% body fat reduction.
Yeah, maybe that's too much to start with.
Yeah.
So they recommend breaking it down even further.
Okay, so maybe instead of like focusing on the whole thing,
Yeah,
you just focus on like one habit change for the first month.
exactly. Like the meal prepping.
Yeah, just get that down first.
Yeah. Start small, build momentum.
Yeah, and then you can kind of build on that.
Exactly.
Okay, what about relevant?
Ah, yes, relevant.
What if people just lose motivation?
That happens when the goal doesn't really mean anything to them.
Yeah, it's like you're just going through the motions.
Amid being on a treadmill to nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. You just want to get off.
So the book recommends a values check.
Okay.
Sit down and really ask yourself,
Okay.
why do I care about this goal?
Right.
How does it connect to what I value?
Yeah, That's a good question.
If you can't answer that, maybe it's the wrong goal.
Right. You got to be honest with yourself.
Honestly is key.
Okay, what about procrastination?
Procrastination, the enemy of progress.
That's me.
The book has some great tips for that.
Tell me, I need all the help I can get.
Have you heard of temptation bundling?
No, what's that?
Okay, it's like this.
Okay.
You take something you need to do,
Okay.
like that presentation for work.
Ugh, yeah.
You're dreading it.
The worst.
But you bundle it with something you want to do,
Okay.
like your favorite podcast.
So I can only listen to it while I work on the presentation.
Exactly.
Okay, that's actually really smart.
It works. Your brain starts to associate the task with something pleasurable.
So you're tricking your brain into wanting to do it?
In a way, yes.
I like it.
It makes it more appealing.
Okay, any other procrastination tips?
Oh, there's the 5-minute rule.
What's that?
You just commit to working on your goal for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, that's it.
That's it.
Seems too easy.
It's about overcoming that initial resistance.
Okay.
Once you start, you often keep going.
It's like that saying, the hardest part is starting.
Exactly. But
Sometimes you're not procrastinating.
Right.
You just feel overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed, yeah.
Like your to-do list is a mile long.
I've been there.
So what do you do then?
The 7-step blueprint suggests time boxing.
Oh, I love time boxing.
It's a lifesaver.
Yeah, it's so...
Well, you allocate specific blocks of time
Yes.
for your goal.
So you're not just trying to squeeze it in.
No, it's scheduled.
It's in the calendar.
It's a commitment.
I find it really helps with those goals that aren't urgent.
Like writing or personal projects.
Yeah, they get pushed aside so easily.
Time boxing keeps them on track.
It's like you're making space for your goals.
Exactly. You're being proactive.
Instead of reactive.
Yes, you're in control.
And speaking of making space for growth.
Yes.
I want to remind our listeners about concentratedwisdom.com.
Oh, yes, a great resource.
They have so many tools and resources.
For everything.
Goal setting, productivity, personal development.
It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
If you want to level up your life,
it's a great place to start.
Big ideas, small doses, endless impact. You're now listening to Concentrated Wisdom.
Okay, now, let's talk about those aha moments.
Okay.
When the SMART goals really click.
Yeah.
And you start seeing results.
What are some key takeaways for our listeners?
As they work towards their goals. Well, one big takeaway for me is that it's not about perfection. It's about progress.
Mm-hmm.
The 7-step blueprint, they really emphasize being flexible with yourself.
Right.
Being kind to yourself.
Yeah, because you're going to mess up.
You're going to mess up. You're going to...
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect.
You're going to have to adjust course sometimes.
Right, and that's okay.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah, I like that they actually recommend scheduling these goal review sessions.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so you can sit down.
Check in with yourself.
Yeah, and see what's working.
Yeah, what's not working.
What's not working.
And then you adjust.
And then you adjust, right.
It's like checking your GPS.
Exactly.
Making sure you're still on the right track.
Yeah, because, our lives change.
They do.
Our priorities change.
All the time.
What felt right a few months ago.
Yeah.
Might not feel right now.
Exactly.
So it's important to be open to that.
Be adaptable.
Yeah, be adaptable, yeah.
And another important thing is celebrating those wins.
Yes.
No matter how small.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Did you hit your word count today?
Yeah.
Awesome. Celebrate.
High five.
Did you resist that cookie?
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's a big win.
Celebrate it.
Yeah, because it reinforces that positive...
The positive momentum.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I can do this.
And the book talks about how that actually rewires your brain.
Oh, wow.
To want more success.
Yeah, because you're getting those dopamine hits.
It is training yourself.
And you're like, oh, I want more of that.
I want more of that feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, it's so easy to focus on what we haven't done yet.
Oh, it's so easy to be negative.
And beat ourselves up about it.
Yeah, we're so good at that.
But we have to stop and be
celebrate the wins.
Yeah, celebrate the wins.
Appreciate how far you've come.
Yeah, give yourself credit.
Give yourself credit.
For the effort.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, I think another big takeaway from the 7-step blueprint is that achieving our goals.
Yeah.
It's not about willpower.
It's not about some magic ability.
Yeah, it's about having a system.
It's about having a framework.
Like SMART goals.
Like SMART goals, exactly.
And then using the tools and strategy to actually take action.
To take consistent action. That's key.
Yeah, consistency is key.
Consistency is everything.
And I think that's what makes this deep dive so empowering.
I agree.
Because it's like, we're not just like hoping and wishing.
Right.
We're actually taking control.
We're taking the reins.
Yeah, we're designing our lives.
We're designing our future.
Instead of just letting things happen to us.
Exactly.
And it all starts with that first step.
That first step, yeah.
That commitment.
The commitment to yourself.
To ourselves and our dreams.
To your dreams, yeah.
And, you don't have to do it alone. There are amazing resources out there.
There are.
Like concentratedwisdom.com.
Great resource.
They have a supportive community, guidance.
It's a great place to start.
So if you're feeling lost or overwhelmed,
Yeah, check them out.
definitely check it out.
They can help.
Okay, well, this has been an amazing deep dive into the world of SMART goals.
I feel smarter already.
I know, right?
Yeah,
So I hope you all feel inspired
I hope so too.
to start crafting your own roadmaps to success.
Start small, be consistent, celebrate those wins.
Yes. And don't be afraid to adjust course along the way.
That's right. Life is a journey.
A huge thank you to all of our listeners
Thank you for joining us.
for joining us on this journey.
We appreciate you.
We'll see you next time
See you next time.
for another deep dive
Into the world of wisdom
and personal growth.
and growth. Yes.
All right. Until then.
This is the Concentrated Wisdom Podcast signing off. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and don't forget to share the wisdom with someone who needs it.